essential to have a free speech and to be able to communicate, communicate freely if there are multiple opinions, but and just make sure that we're not sort of driving a narrative. In order for people to have trust in Twitter, I think it's extremely important that there be transparency. I think Twitter, in terms of like serious issues, can be a lot better in informing people about serious issues. How many times have the media gotten it right? Well, I would say almost never. Not never, but almost never.
Can we talk briefly about your political views?
Well, my political views, I think, are moderate. I'm in favor of moderate politics, but allowing people who have relatively extreme views to express those views within the bounds of the law. It's free speech within the context of the law. So I'm definitely not suggesting that we, just flout the law, because we'll get shut down in that case. And I think there's also there's freedom of speech and freedom of reach. So I think people should be allowed to say, pretty outrageous things that are within the bounds of the law, but then they don't, it doesn't get amplified. It doesn't get, a ton of reach. I think an important goal for Twitter would be to try to include as much of the country, as much of the world as possible. So the things that I've said about Twitter, I think, need to happen in order for it to be, to really go to the next level. I mean, I think the potential is there for Twitter to have be accessible to an order of magnitude more people. Let's say the far left 10% and far right 10% were equally upset on Twitter, then that will probably be a good outcome. The standard is much more than not offending people. The standard should be that they're very entertained and informed.
That was just a few minutes of what was nearly 50 minutes of a leaked video of Elon Musk presenting in a town hall with Twitter employees. Project Veritas obtained the video where the soon-to-be owner of the social media company joined all staff to participate in a Q&A. It's no secret that employees of the company have been sceptical about what their new boss's intentions are, and as expected, he spoke about the importance of free speech on the platform, something the company has been heavily criticised for not doing in the past. He said it's essential to have free speech to be able to communicate freely. The Tesla founder reiterated that in order for the public to have trust in Twitter, it's extremely important that there be transparency, and the social media company can do a better job at informing people about serious issues. Twitter's CMO Leslie Berland then opened up the conversation to what Elon's personal political views are. He said he's a moderate in favour of moderate politics, which is nothing new. He has continued to share that online. But allowing people who have relatively extreme views to express their views within the bounds of the law. It's free speech within the context of the law. So I'm not suggesting that we just flout the law because we'll get shut down in that case. One thing the tech billionaire has remained incredibly outspoken on is the fact that he wants to make Twitter inclusive for all, whichever way one leans politically. He told his staff, "I think an important goal for Twitter would really try to include as much of the country, as much of the world as possible. I think the potential is there for Twitter to be accessible to an order of magnitude more people." Let's say the far left 10% and far right 10% were equally upset on Twitter, and that will probably be a good outcome. The standard is much more than not offending people. The standard should be that they're very entertained and informed. Outkick founder Clay Travis joined Fox News before the town hall was leaked, where he said he hopes Elon can successfully end the far left-wing bias the company has had.
My hope has been, guys, that Elon can come in and just apply content-neutral policies and end this far left-wing bias that the company has had for a very long time. And so that's the thing that I'm most intrigued to see when he has this conversation with the employees. What is the reception and what sort of public comments does he make? Because they're going to leak almost as soon as he makes them in regards to what he would expect his ownership to be.
I see why they did pre-submitted questions, but a free-for-all. They were having a free-for-all on Twitter after he bought it.
No, you're right.
The employees were actually actively challenging him there, and he was giving it right back. But I contend that the employees at Twitter should have an open mind.
Yeah.
Because that might be the best boss you ever had.
Well, what I love is, that he is a genius when it comes to Tesla and when it comes to SpaceX. And I feel like he's going to be able to get the right data engineers to go in there and figure out what I want to see is the public algorithm, right? He's been arguing that he's going to do this for a long time. What are the actual rules that are put in place as to what trends, as to why we see the tweets that we do on our timeline? And how can he make that more public and more honest and more transparent and hopefully more content neutral? That's my goal.